Hey, hello guys, this is Karthik from ExecuteAutomation.com and this is part 29 of our Coded UI video series. And in this part, we're going to discuss about executing script in browser with Coded UI. So before watching this part, I would request you to watch part 28 since this part will contain some of the code from that part. Executing JavaScript. So using browser Windows execute script method, we can execute any script. And in this video, we're going to execute a JavaScript command. If you have already worked with a tool like Selenium, we have something called iJavaScript executor method, which is available in Selenium WebDriver, where you can execute a JavaScript command and also get the output out from the command. Similarly, in Code.UI testing, we have something called ExecuteScript method, where we can execute a JavaScript file or any script file for that matter and perform the operation on the web page document object model. So let's see this in action and see how things work in Visual Studio. So I'm going to flip to Visual Studio right now. Well, this is the same project which we have been working so long, and I have formatted this code a little bit with some comments here and there to make this code more readable. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to execute the JavaScript with the browser Windows instance. So we have written the browser Windows instance right here in the top parent window method. So here's where we are actually locating our window and then performing the operation. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to execute the JavaScript in this method. So let's write the code here, execute script. Oops. All right. So using the instance of the browser window, and there is something called as execute script method. And here, as you can see, there are two parameters. One is string script and another one is params of object array as arguments, right? So we're going to use and this one is an optional parameter. So I'm directly going to pass the JavaScript here. So let's write a very, very simple JavaScript, which is nothing but alert of hello world. Oops, it's in quotes, hello world, right? And that's it. So this is going to be a very, very simple JavaScript which I'm going to pass, and I'm going to run this one. So before that, I'm going to hit a breakpoint here since we need to stop our code from executing further. And let me go to the test explorer and run our debug selected test. So it has opened the browser right now, and it should give me a alert window by now. So let's go to the browser, and do you see that there is a alert specifying hello world. So this hello world is actually coming from the JavaScript, right? So I'm going to hit OK right now. But right now you can ask me, what is the real purpose of this? What is actually going to add me a value for executing a JavaScript in a page? Of course you are correct, because this hello world is not going to make any sense for us. So I'm going to hit OK here. But let's add a little meaningful stuff. Let's say I want to count the number of controls in the page. Let's say if we have a test case where we want to verify whether all the controls are completely rendered. So for doing that, we can execute this JavaScript. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a little simple code where I'm going to count the number of controls available in this page, so that this will give me an information that, okay, I have 3 controls for my web page. And this is kind of a dumb test, but still it makes real sense that whether my page is fully loaded with the expected controls in my page. So for that, I'm going to stop this just right now, and I'm going to add a little more code. So let's say I'm going to add a control count var is equal to document dot get elements by tag name. So we know that all the controls like text box and the button are of type input control. So the tag is of course input. All right. Dot, since it is elements by tag name, I'm going to use the length method which is available, which will return me the length or the number of elements available. And then I'm going to alert the total control is control count. All right. So what I'm basically doing is I'm getting all the length of the tag name of type input. So this will get me the total number of counts in this particular variable, control counts. And then I'm actually alerting that using this control count right here. So this will give me an alert message saying the total control is total number of control. Let's give you a little meaningful here. The total number of control is this, right? So let me again go back and debug this code. So I'm going to close this window and I'm going to debug the selected test. All right, the page is opened. Now let's go back and see the message. Great. Do you see that the total number of control is 3? So it is giving me the exact number of controls. The next thing we're going to see is how to get this value into our code. Instead of getting this value into a alert window here, we're going to get this value out into our code and see if we are really getting the value or not. So that's where we are going to add the value to our automation code, and that's where this execute script method itself will come handy. So what I'm going to do is, let's hit OK here. Let's flip to Visual Studio. So I'm going to stop this execution. Since this ExecuteScript method is actually returning an object type, what I'm going to do is, instead of writing an alert here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just return this control count directly to the caller. So the caller here is nothing but the type if we specify. So I'm going to specify a var type here, which is an implicitly typed variable, and I'm going to name it as result, right? So this will actually hold my total number of count. And let's say if my test case is if result is equal to 3, right? So I think it's always string type. So maybe we'll explicitly convert here. Then I can say, pass, else, we'll specify it as failed. That's it. So now let's try to run this and see how things works. So I'm going to again debug this code. So let me close this previous window and debug the selected code. All right. If you could see the result right now, it's 3, right? So I'm going to convert this to string, so which means it's going to get passed right now. So if we step over, as you can see, it's getting passed. So this is what is our expectation, and this is where the ExecuteScript method comes very handy. So you can not only just execute a script, but also you can get the value out from a script into your code, right? So this is the greatest advantage of ExecuteScript method available with BrowserWindow's instance. Well, that's it guys. Thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.